calm down. Mama, I'm fine, don't worry. Go back out to sea. Sail home, sweet home, where the ships must go to get all cleaned up and put away.
Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday. Glad you're here. And like always, we'll give it a few minutes. This is a live stream, so we'll have to wait a couple of minutes so that people can find the stream and come on board and chat with us and ask some questions. Today, we are talking about provider support for IHSS. So if you are an IHSS caregiver, you are a paid provider for the program. We're going to talk a little bit about supports for you, things that you should be aware of. So if you ever run into any challenges or hiccups with the program, you would know where to turn to rather than maybe filing for an appeal or things of that nature. So I'm sure there will be lots of people here today people who come across the stream, whether live or later on, expressing or feeling some of the challenges that a lot of providers do feel with these programs, especially something like IHSS. And so we can chat today about what you can do to kind of maximize your time as a provider. Knowing some of the do's and don'ts, and as well as knowing who to call when you're running into a specific trouble or specific challenge, right? Like back pay issues, or you have an address that you need to change, right? Things like that. We're going to go over a lot of that stuff. Welcome. We already have some people jumping in on both YouTube and Facebook. So thank you from both platforms. Wherever you're coming from, please take some time to drop a comment. Let me know where you're from. Say hello. I'd love to shout you out if I can. I'm going to drop a little thingy here. Where is it? Oh, I don't know where it went. Oh, there we go. Boom. Yeah, like always. Oh, that's not the one. This one. If you can, it always is super helpful if you can like the video, love it, share it, tag a friend or tag us a work group. That always goes a long ways. Also brings more people into the stream so we can have more people asking questions, so we can learn from each other. Teresa, you're here. Thank you. Like clockwork. And going over my banners. Sorry, everybody. We didn't get a chance to update everything. It's a little late today. But provider non-appeal issues. So if for those of you who don't know, IHSS, that is the program. It's a caregiving program where in California, if you sign up to be a caregiver for your child or your loved one who has IHSS hours, and you want to get paid for that, you would become a IHSS paid provider, right? And so we've talked in the past a little bit about the differences between providers, right? You have standard traditional paid providers with the program, and then you have parent paid providers, right? So a parent paid provider would essentially be a paid provider caring for a minor who just happens to be their child, right? And so there are some rules and differences between both, little bits. There's also out-of-home provider and live-in-home provider, right? Or live-in provider. So out-of-home is exactly what it sounds like. It means you are a provider working for your patient with IHSS, your client, but you do not live in the same home as them. So you do have some different rules there, especially tax-wise. If you are a live-in provider, that means you live with the recipient of IHSS. And in those cases, you can opt out of taxes. You can be tax exempt. So just a fun fact there. Felicia, welcome. Welcome back. All right, so I want to jump into, I have a little bit of an outline here, so I'm going to kind of go back and forth with some questions if you have any, as well as just kind of looking at my outline. And so I want to start by saying that I want to give you kind of some pillars to think about when it comes to IHSS, okay? So some of these pillars are important for you to know when you're trying to navigate certain areas and aspects of IHSS. Okay, so one thing to really excuse me, I can't talk today. One thing to really make known is that IHSS is a state program through Medi-Cal. okay? And so it's all over California. So no matter where you live in California, you should be able to have access to the program of IHSS. So every county in California has their own IHSS office. And some counties, some of the bigger ones, have multiple offices. So counties like LA or San Bernardino, even San Diego, they have more than one. I think Riverside might even have 2 or 3. LA is the big one. That they have 9 or 10 offices. But every county in California has an IHSS office. So just something to consider. So when you're Googling IHSS, you need to contact IHSS. You do have to reach out to the office specifically in your county. Now, would it be awful if you called the neighboring county's office? No. And technically, there's rules with IHSS. And we'll talk about that a little bit as well. We can just jump into that now. So if you have a challenge with your case, especially if it's in regards to an application date or you're trying to get information over to your social worker, like some important paperwork that has a deadline, if you send that paperwork or that if you reach out to the wrong office, you live in LA, but you accidentally reach out to San Bernardino, or maybe you're in LA and you are, your local office is the Chatsworth office, but you end up calling Long Beach, or you end up calling, Metro, right, downtown. And with IHSS, if you technically call the wrong office, they're not supposed to like completely reject the information and say, dude, what are you doing? You called the wrong office, right? No, they're supposed to help. They're supposed to bridge that gap for you. So a really big important point of today's outline is about keeping record of some phone calls, emails, anything you send to IHSS, because it will help you understand and navigate this support process that we're going to go over. And again, thank you for some of the newer people running in here as well. I'm really glad you guys are here. Please take a moment to say hello. Let me know where you're from. I'd love to talk about your specific county, if there's anything we can do. Shout you guys out, or maybe pick on a county. There are some counties that we work with IHSS that are not a whole lot of fun to work with. So let me know what county you live in or county you want to move to. Let me know if you are currently going through any provider challenges yourself and you need some advice. I'd love to try and help you. All right, so there's always going to be the IHSS service desk, right? So if you ever run into an issue, whether it be with your kiddo's hours or it's a provider issue, maybe the hours aren't uploading in the timesheet portal anymore, excuse me, or you just have questions about your status as a provider, you can always, Old Faithful, you could just call the help desk line. And so the help desk line is, run, to my understanding, through CDSS, which is the California Department of Social Services. And so the helpline that we have here is it's a 1866 number. And so Teresa, you're welcome to comment it. Actually, I wonder if I can comment it. Let's see. I think I might be able to do that. I never realized. Oh my gosh. Will it allow me to post this comment? Let's see. Nice. Oh, cool. I did it, Teresa. So Teresa, no need to pin the comment or make the comment yourself. If you want to pin it, go for it. But everybody, you can call this number if you want to. This is again, just general help desk line for IHSS. So if you're not too sure where to turn to, you don't know what department to go to, whether it be for a provider issue or a recipient issue, you can always call the helpline. Okay. Lixia, hello to you. Welcome. And Miss Estella, welcome back. All right. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody. If you can, share it, tag a friend. That's always really, really helpful. Or share it to a support group or tag a support group. That would be wonderful. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll keep this up for now. I'll do the YouTube one. I love this streaming platform, guys. We're using StreamYard. It's a great little streaming service. Allows us to stream to multiple platforms. And so if you are more comfortable here on Facebook, I'm glad you get to watch us. You also can watch us on YouTube. So we do have a lot of people that I speak with that don't have Facebook accounts. And so if you run into somebody who isn't on Facebook, but you want them to maybe hear some of this information, they can check us out on YouTube. Isn't that great? Love it. Lexia, I have this question. Why is it hard to get extensions? Ooh, yes. By extensions, do you mean exemptions? So like exemption 2 and things like that? Because if that's what you're referring to, really it's more of, they have very specific guidelines and rules. And so as long as you can fit within those parameters, you should be okay. I can go over what those are if you would like me to. But Lixia, do you want to share maybe if you've had a hardship with that yourself? Do you currently have an exemption right now with your hours? Dee Dee, hello from LA. Welcome. Was wondering which is the best district for the school with a child with more moderate to severe needs. Every year, LAUSD, I feel like I'm losing 20 years of my life just fighting with them about services. They are listed in the IEP. They just don't comply. Yeah, you are not alone in that, Dee Dee. So it is unfortunate here in California. We have some amazing services, but our school districts are very hit or miss depending on where you are, where you're at. I can't give you a specific district, Dee Dee, but you are more than welcome to call our office if you want to chat with an education advocate. They may have some experience with that. I personally don't. I couldn't give you a a district that I would prefer. But people in the comments today, if you see Dee Dee's comment here and you are in LA and you are familiar with some of the school districts, please feel free to share here in the comments or reach out to Dee Dee if you have some advice for her. I would love to learn more about the LA school district specifically. Yeah, I do know of some up here. I'm in the north side of California, the Bay Area, Sacramento. And so I'm a little bit more familiar with some of the school districts here. I'm more familiar with like the stay away school districts, like the ones I won't recommend families moving to. But it's like top tier great districts, I unfortunately wouldn't be able to give you a list. Thank you, Dee Dee. I'm glad you're here. Come on, everybody. Let's help Dee Dee out. Let's chat with her. Any of you LA folks, let her know, please. Lexia, yes, you get 90 hours per week. Okay, so yes, you do have the exemption too. So yeah, I mean, for those who are curious what Lexia is mentioning here, when you're an IHSS provider, if you have more than one recipient, then you could potentially qualify for an exemption. And so that would allow you to claim more than the 66 hours per week maximums. So this is oftentimes utilized when you have, 2 or more children who have IHSS with like protective supervision, where they both have 250 hours each, right? If that's the case, then you have 500 hours, amongst 2 recipients. You as a provider technically can't claim all those hours because you get capped at 283 per month. And so you can apply for an exemption, which will allow you to get 90 hours per week, which is 360 hours per month. So why is it so difficult? Well, I would say every county is a little different. Some counties are very, very lenient with it, and they'll just kind of give it to you if you have multiple kiddos or multiple loved ones that you care for. While as other counties, they're a lot more strict because it does require them to, again, pay a lot more on overtime to you. And so they do want you to at least try and find another provider that can work some of the straight time pay to alleviate some of that. But yeah, so why is it difficult was your original question. Why is it hard? It's more cumbersome, right? It's another thing you got to go through. But as long as you fit within the parameters, you should be okay these days. Lexia, I have 2 kids with protect supervision, and it's hard to find a person to help, and I still can't get the extension. So I'm confused, Lexia, because you get 90 hours per week. So 90 hours per week would mean you do have the exemption, because the maximum is 66 hours per week. But let me know if for some reason you're getting different information from your social worker. All right, so this is a great example of a provider challenge, right? A provider issue that we're talking about. So this is not something that is, to my understanding, you can't appeal the exemption discussion. If the social worker or the county denies your ability to have an exemption, I believe you can appeal it, but it's if you meet the criteria, it shouldn't be an issue. However, we have seen people still get denied even though they followed all the rules and they meet the criteria for it. And so if that's you and you're running into that trouble, I would start by contacting payroll first. So start by contacting payroll and asking if the exemption has been approved. You just haven't received the update in your timesheet portal yet. But if they relay back to you and say you don't have the exemption, then you do have to go back to your social worker. And so your social worker or some county rep locally, you'll have to ask them about what are their specific rules for exemption. Because every county, they all have to follow the same guidelines, but procedurally they're all a little different. So your county may do things a little bit differently. They may require you to call a certain amount of people to interview for the provider role before you can claim that there's nobody available. So yeah, it's a tough one, Lixia, but I'm glad you're here. Thank you for sharing this. Desiree, it's our third year without a reassessment. However, our hours were the same and no problem with it. My son is a client of Adult Advocacy. I reached out to Christina about it, and she told me just to wait and then reach out and leave it like that. Should I be worried for this? No. So you are one of the lucky few, Desiree. So that's I am not somebody that says, hey, go ahead and reach out if you haven't heard anything. Like Christina was saying, if things are the same and you're comfortable with this person's hours, you feel that their hours are kind of managing the need that they have, then there's no need for a reassessment because there's no updates that the county would require. So it's up to you. If you, I mean, obviously, if you want to have a reassessment, you can, but it's not like you're going to get in any trouble. It's their job to reach out to you and provide a reevaluation. However, if things change and you feel like the hours need to be increased or even decreased technically, then it would be smart to maybe connect with Christina because you do work here with Adult Advocacy. But for those who don't, call your social worker and let them, you can prompt a reassessment that way by per request. All right. Great questions, everybody. Thanks for being here. Again, don't forget, give it a like, a share if you haven't done so already. And if you have, thank you so very much. We appreciate you guys. Tag a friend, tag a support group. There's lots of support groups out there who are looking for some of this type of information and want to read your comments about your experiences. So don't be afraid to comment about your experience and some of the challenges you have or a question you might have. All right. So we'll go into kind of some typical, like, again, provider challenges, right? So if you're having any issue with your time card or you're having issues with back pay because you just got approved and you're trying to claim retroactive back pay, if you're having any issues seeing the hours in your timesheet portal, or maybe they're not exactly matching up to what the notice of action says, right? These are all provider, very, very common provider issues that people run into. And so these are not typically things that you would want to call the help desk about. There is a little bit of a system here. So I'm going to give you that system, okay? You're going to want to start by calling your local payroll department, your local payroll team in your county. So IHSS payroll, you can look it up online. Just do IHSS payroll and then your county. You're going to call them, excuse me, and you're going to let them know about this timesheet issue that you might be having, or this retroactive issue that you might be having. Or maybe it's a back pay date, right? Maybe you were promised you would get paid going back to, August 1st, but the back pay date's October 1st. Well, that's 2 months right there, right? That's 2 months of back pay you don't want to miss out on. And so you want to start by calling payroll. Those are the people that are kind of in control of the whole timesheet portal that you use online. And so they typically will, if they can't at the very least give you the support you need, they can, give you like the solution to the support you're looking for. They will direct you to the right person. And so usually the next phase is just going back to the social worker. So an example of this would be a lot of people, they go through the process of applying for IHSS. They sign up as a provider, but it's taking forever to see the hours update in your timesheet portal. And so payroll, So payroll may see the hours in your timesheet. They may see that you have been a provider, but they don't see the hours. So a lot of times what that means is that the social worker hasn't linked the two cases. So you have an IHSS recipient case, and then you have your IHSS provider case. And so you have two different like account numbers or case numbers. And so you have to get those linked in order for you as the provider to see the recipient's hours in your timesheet portal. And that is up to the social worker. It's up to the social worker to make that connection. And so if they haven't done that yet, then you can reach out to payroll and ask for some direction and say, hey, how do we get the social worker to do this? I can't get a hold of them or something, right? And sometimes payroll can kind of push things along for you. Worst case scenario, you call the help desk, or you can reach out to the local office and ask for a supervisor. Because again, we're talking about your livelihood here, right? This is a job. Being an IHSS provider is a job where you get a W-2 at the beginning of the next year, like a regular job, right? And so don't treat this as like free benefits or this is just, oh, something in kind of in bonus that we get, right? No, you signed up for a job. You are a caregiver with a caregiving program, and you need to treat it like a job in some ways, right? If you feel like your child's hours or your loved one's hours are not where they're supposed to be, maybe you've found discrepancies and that you're getting paid less than where you should be as a provider. There's nothing wrong with making a little bit of a fuss about this and trying to make it right. Because again, if I was to work a regular job and I'm getting paid 40 hours a week, but my manager comes up to me and is like, hey, I noticed you've been working like 50 hours a week. I really appreciate that. I need you to continue doing that, but we can't pay you more than 40. Actually, we need you to start working 60 hours a week, but we still can't pay you more than 40. Can you do that? I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh my gosh, I really need the money. I love this job and I'll continue doing it. So if you can't pay me it, I understand. I'll keep doing it no matter what. It's not even about the money. But I'll keep doing it because I just love what I do, right? No, I wouldn't do that unless like my job was my passion project, kind of like cult advocacy here, right? But with IHSS, that is the mindset of a lot of families when they're caring for a loved one, is they'll just kind of go with the flow and not really fight for the extra hours because they're like, you know what, it's not even about the money. I'm still going to care for this person no matter what. And I'm just going to let you know right now that that's a mindset which, hey, God bless you, but you are telling IHSS that they don't even need this program anymore because you'll work for free. You just admitted it, right? So don't forget, this is a job. And in some ways, you have to be a little cutthroat to make sure that this person is receiving the appropriate benefits, that not just that they're entitled to, but you as their provider are entitled to. Okay, rant over, everybody. Sorry. Cassie, I have a 5-year-old daughter who has level 3 autism. She bangs her head on things, punches herself in the face, elopes, puts small objects in her mouth, and climbs on top of objects as well. We were denied protect supervision, and the reason they gave was her medical condition and the fact that she is hurting herself. Is this something you guys are familiar with, or is that something that happens frequently with the county? Cassie, I am so glad you're here. This is something we specialize in. So yes, I know all about it. I have been around the world of autism my entire life. I've been around the world of IHSS most of my life. IHSS and protective supervision is what put food on my table as a child. And so that's why I do this today with my family. Cult Advocacy is my family's agency. And so this is exactly what we do and specialize in. So I'm happy to help you. So it most certainly sounds like your child is a candidate for protective supervision. I can't confirm it through this call, through this this stream today, but I'm happy to connect and we can talk one-on-one to see and kind of nail it down for sure, some closure there. But all the things that you just listed, if they're all manifestations of the disability, the mental impairment, then these are all reasons to say that this person is what you would call non-self-directing, which is everything to protective supervision. And so to say that this is actually very common. So a lot of people are scared to talk about the self-harming, like the headbanging and stuff, because they fear that they've heard so many people say that they got denied simply because that's what their child does. And so I'm going to quote you some regulations here, okay? There is a regulation that says that you cannot get protective supervision for being antisocial and aggressive. So as soon as a social worker hears that your child headbangs or hits themselves, automatically they'll assume that that's something self-directed. They're just aggressive with themselves. And we all know in the world of autism, that's just not how autism works, right? People with autism are not necessarily inherently aggressive by nature. It's not like a typical kiddo who just has a lot of pent up energy and gets aggressive. Autism comes with a lot of processing challenges. And so when you're not able to process an emotion or a feeling, children will tend to react in a very aggressive manner, right? But that doesn't mean that they are aggressive. It doesn't mean that they necessarily have aggressive behaviors. And so, Cassie, to say that to tell you that you were denied because she's hurting herself, obviously that doesn't sound right to me. And so I feel for you, and I would love to help you because it most certainly sounds like your child's a candidate, and I would love to take a deeper look for you. So give us a call. Get on my calendar, okay? Valerie, how do I share? I can't find the share button. So if you're on Facebook, yeah, the comment came from Facebook. It should be on the bottom right-hand side. The very bottom right-hand side, there should be like a little arrow, a swoopy arrow. That should allow you to share it. Thanks for trying. Karina, how long should I wait to call to see if protect supervision has been signed off on by the supervisor? It has been with the supervisor supervisor since the 17th of October, and they just keep telling me that they are backlogged. So they are, but they're always backlogged. That's not a new thing. So how long should you wait? So it depends on the last time you called. You said it has been with the supervisor since the 17th. So I like to do, excuse me. Let's see here. So if the supervisor's had it since the 17th, I think giving them 30 days to review things with is a good timeline before you start following up and kind of trying to shake some trees here. Shake some trees. So I'd say give it another week, right? Week and a half. It's the 7th of November. So give it another week or so. And if you don't hear anything, there's nothing wrong with calling the help desk or calling your social worker or even reaching out to the supervisor directly and asking for an update. What I like to do in those situations, if I have an email, I prefer email over everything else, and send them an email and ask and say, hey, is there anything missing? Is there anything that you need? It's been a month. And if they continue just saying that they're backlogged, well, that's at least a positive. They haven't said that he's denied. But I would just then at that point, after a month, maybe follow up on a bi-weekly basis. Give it another couple of weeks. If you haven't heard anything, follow up again. If it's been 2 months and you still haven't heard anything, or they're still backlogged and they haven't made a decision, now it's time for you to start considering kind of protecting yourself a little bit, okay? So 2 months, even then, is not a crazy timeline. So we are seeing the counties move very slowly with a lot of these different steps. And so if it's been 2 months at that point and you still haven't gotten a decision, then I would say just start keeping track of that timeline a little bit more closely, because you do want to file an appeal on an issue like this if it's getting close to 3 months. If I would say 3 months would be a really long time. Technically, the rules say that they have 90 days to provide. If they can't complete it within 45 days, then technically they can have like 90 days to make a decision. And so if it's getting close to 90 days, I would start to find out, are they even close to a decision yet? And if they're not, then you could file an appeal on an issue like that, but it will provide some additional headaches. I'll just tell you that. And so just continue following up. Don't do it on a daily basis. I'd say even be careful on a weekly basis. Every other week, I would send a follow-up to see where we're at. Valerie, and since I will get the W-2 from the end of the year, like an old job, will this affect my personal medical? No, it will not. Thank you, Cassie. David, I'm a provider for my mom, and she moved to a new county. How long does this take for the transfer, and will you still get paid during the transfer time? Good question. So you guys always have great questions. I love it. So yes, you still can get paid obviously during this transfer period. So you'll just continue getting paid through the county that you're currently linked with. And so once they eventually transfer your case over, they will transfer your provider status as well. Technically, well, I guess that's if you live with her. So yeah, continue working the hours, continue putting them in your timesheet portal like normal. There shouldn't be like a break in pay. And so once it's transitioned over, it shouldn't necessarily affect you as a provider in any way. Thank you, Miss Jenna. Kuta, yes, email us, please. We'd love to hear from you. My online account timesheet is disabled currently. Oh, okay. Well, I would reach out to payroll and ask why that is. If they're saying it's because it's the transition period, the transfer period, then make it known to figure out which day they stopped paying you so that you can get paid going back to that back date. If you are caring for your mom during that time period, you shouldn't go unpaid. Kuta, still waiting on the judge's decision since October 9th. Yes, there are so many appeals right now that are still left open and waiting on a judge's decision. It is crazy. It's not just like families with our office that we work with, it's statewide. We've never seen so many appeals so far behind, like appeal decisions. Like, it's crazy. I'm sorry that that's happening to you as well, Kuta. I feel for you guys. All right, so we've talked about a few things. We talked about calling your help desk line for certain issues, right? Calling payroll if you're having any payment provider challenges, right? You can also call your social worker or a supervisor if there's any specific case-related challenges with the recipient that you're working with. And we did pin the help desk line up top here. I'll do that again for you so you can see it. I'm just kind of looking at my notes again to see what I want to talk about next, guys. All right, so you can also check this out here. I'm going to share this comment. All right, so there's a link here. I think it linked. Did it link? All right, so there's a link here if you want to check that out in the last comment that I posted here. So this is in regards to, this is the California Department of Social Services, so the CDSS homepage, okay? And so this goes over all of the eligibility services and basic provider recipient information. So if you ever want to learn a little bit more about, again, your rights as the provider, some of the provider rules, you can always check out the CDSS website, okay? And you can click on this link that's in the comment section here, okay? I'm going to do another one for you guys. Hopefully this is going to come through too. Let's see. This is another provider one for you, okay? This is the provider resource page. So in this comment that I just posted here, you can click on that link and it'll take you to an actual provider resource page specifically for IHSS providers, okay? I'm going to send you another one for the IHSS timesheet portal. Man, I hope these are all going through. Teresa, please let me know how it's looking on your end because I don't know if it's clickable links. Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, the electronic timesheet portal, ESP. There's info here that includes instructions for using the timesheet portal. So if you're new to the timesheet portal, you're a new provider, you can also just call your social worker, or you can check out this website here, which is also the CDSS website. So CDSS, by the way, is California Department of Social Services. This is kind of like the hub next to Disability Rights of California. If you're ever having challenges with IHSS or provider issues, whatever, even regional center conversations, education law and issues, CDSS, Disability Rights of California, and these types of places can help you. But this is an actual link for timesheet portal support if you're having trouble with your timesheets. Goody said, my oldest son, can they be my son's respite worker and his provider? So you can't be a respite worker and an IHSS provider at the same time. So respites are, unless it's like special circumstances. So the idea is that a respite worker gives the caregiver a break. And so if you are the provider, well, in this case, you said that your son is, so you have an older son who's also the IHSS worker, and then you want them to also be the respite provider? I think technically it could work because he's not like a legal guardian of the child. He's not the parent in the situation. And so I think in a situation like that, you could potentially get them approved as a respite worker, but you as the parent wouldn't be able to. So you as the parent, if you were the IHSS provider, you wouldn't also be able to be the respite worker. And you can't even technically be the respite worker at all because this is a position that is to allow the primary caregiver a break. Rest a bit. David, does your hours increase or reduce if you plan to move with your recipient? So the hours can only be increased or decreased based on the level of need at the time when the recipient is assessed. So it has nothing to do with you as the provider and where you live. So the hours are all about the recipient. So when it comes to you claiming the hours, that is all going to be dependent on what your recipient is approved for, or recipients if you're caring for multiple recipients. It has nothing to do on whether or not you move or if you move in with your recipient. So whether you live in the home or out of the home, that's not going to change anything as far as what you can claim. However, what does change is taxes. So if you are an out-of-home IHSS provider, you are taxed at the regular tax rate for however many hours you're working. But if you move in with your recipient, you then can opt out. You can become tax exempt. That's the only difference. Can you please pin Galt Advocacy's information as well? We are on our page, so everything on it. Well, you may not be. I guess you could have found us separately. Yes, Teresa, do you mind pinning like Galt Advocacy's like website, phone number, things like that for Miss Cassie here? Okay, you said yes to your son being the IHSS provider, and then you said I don't do respite. So yeah, again, you can't do the respite. You are the parent, so the respite would have to go to somebody else. Now, could your oldest son be both the IHSS provider and the respite caregiver? Possibly. Teresa, you said the link didn't go, so you'll try to find one. Okay, thanks, Teresa. Sorry about that. Thank you, David. I'm glad you're here, and thank you, Cassie. You guys have some great questions. You guys are awesome. Okay, there is also a county directory. So if you are looking to try and get a hold of your local IHSS office, again, we talked about it earlier, every county has their own office. And so you can go to the CDSS website. Again, you can also just Google IHSS and then your county, and then that information will pop up on Google. But if you want to look at all the counties, all the offices throughout the state, you can do that through the CDSS website here on this this comment that I tagged here. Thank you, Teresa. Appreciate it. And it looks like Cassie already saw it. Beautiful. Teamwork. Love it. And thank you again, David. I wanted to mention, I love your profile photo. Mamba mentality. Legend. I was actually working. I was in LA the day that it happened, the day when he passed. I was actually doing we were doing a seminar, a Galt advocacy seminar in LA. I want to say we were in Long Beach. Maybe. No, Glendale. I think we were in Glendale, I think. And I saw the news on my phone literally right before the event was starting, right before I was going to have to go up and speak. And Myra was going to go up and speak, Myra, the founder of Galt Advocacy. And I remember thinking it wasn't real. I was like, oh my gosh, this can't be real. Ah, terrible. Okay, I did mention Disability Rights of California earlier, so I'll link their thingy as well for you. So Disability Rights is also another great resource for providers and parents who are caring for children with special needs and disabilities. So if you are a caregiver, you are a provider, you're helping claim benefits for a loved one who has disabilities, Disability Rights California is going to have a bunch of great information. It's a hub for all things disability related. So it'll have services, it'll have related information to SSI, IHSS, Regional Center, all of it. They even also highlight a lot of the provider and recipient like rules and stuff. So like this link here will be, it takes you to like an explanations page on more helpful information that you should have as a provider. How we doing, everybody? Any more questions? I think I got them all so far. I think I've been able to catch up with everybody, thankfully. Teresa, here's where you'll find all the stuff on the timesheet portal. Okay, thank you, Teresa. Yeah, that'll be helpful. Yeah, because I know a lot of there are a lot of challenges with timesheet portal stuff. Excuse me. I also get asked a lot about the timeline as a provider. So when you go through provider enrollment, If you're caring for an IHSS recipient who you're applying for, like maybe it's your child or it's your parent, your loved one, and you're a part of the application process, you're supposed to be given a packet when they're approved or when they're being assessed. And that packet will include provider enrollment information. So it'll be instructions on how to go through that process. And so every county, once again, it's a little different, but they all have the same few items that you have to do, which is you have to attend an orientation. And then you also have to do your fingerprints and background check, the live scan. And then you get a certificate saying, congratulations, you've been approved as a provider. So once you get that, that's when you have to contact the social worker for the recipient, the IHSS recipient, and ask them to link the accounts together, or have the recipient call the social worker for you. Again, unless it's like a child with special needs and you're the authorized representative for the case, that's different. So that's really what it is. The authorized representative has to reach out to the social worker. And the authorized representative could be the recipient. It could be you as the parent and caregiver. Another interesting one is going to be fraud. I think we should talk about that. So there's a lot of fraud with these public programs, okay? And it's not a secret. And so we do have to be mindful and aware. And so if you have a loved one, like your parent or your grandparent, auntie and uncle, and they have a provider that's not, somebody that you're familiar with or whatever, or maybe you are familiar with them. I know a lot of people have a hard time, not a lot of people, but there are a lot of people who can't be their loved one's provider. And so they have to outsource it. They have to get somebody who's not family kin or whatever, right? And so whatever the situation may be, if you feel that there is fraud going on, you feel like this person's claiming more hours than they're actually working, or maybe you've noticed something, there is a fraud hotline here that I'll go ahead and post for you. In the event something suspicious is happening, you do have a right to protect this loved one or this person that you care about. And so we don't want fraud to continue, right? I know it's kind of easier said than done, but fraud in these programs, these are some of the things that make it really difficult on everybody. The more fraud that there is, the more money is being funneled out of the program where it shouldn't go, right? And these programs are designed to help our community, the disabled community, the special needs community. And so we do want to stay on top of that. So if you ever have a challenge or you feel like there's fraud going on in your life, that is the fraud hotline you can call. All right, that's pretty much it for the outline, everybody. Hopefully this topic covered something that might be of impact for you in your life. If not, I'm sorry. I'll do better next week. I think I got to all the comments. I'm just going through to see if I missed anybody. Ooh, I did miss a couple. Constance, do providers receive bonuses from IHSS? I don't think I've ever got this question. Constance, to my understanding, no. I've never heard of any like bonuses or like financial incentives being sent out to IHSS providers, but that would be interesting to find out. I've never heard of that. So if anybody's heard of bonuses for social or for IHSS workers, let me know. Let us know. And if you guys have any questions beyond the stream, you want to talk privately, please call our office. I would be honored to chat with you and your situation, whether it be, again, about yourself as a provider, or if you have a loved one that you're caring for and they need protective supervision or something like that, and you're having a hard time getting it, like Lixia earlier. Lixia was mentioning that. Or was it? No, I'm sorry, Cassie. Excuse me. Cassie was mentioning that. And so I'm excited to talk with Cassie to see how I might be able to help. But yeah, if you're in need of some help with your IHSS hours for your loved one, or maybe regional center services, IEP, educational services, these are all the things we specialize in, and we would be honored to help you. So give our office a call. Cassie, your videos always. Thank you very much, Cassie. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Your questions and everybody else's comments and statements are always super helpful too. I don't know everything. I do like to consider myself an expert in this field, but that does not mean I know it all. I can only pretend sometimes. to an extent. And then I have to admit to you guys, you ask questions sometimes I don't know the answers to. You guys are good at stumping me. Dakota is pretty good though. I feel like there's not too many questions that stump Dakota when he's on here. He's my sober second. I love reaching out to Dakota because he's a wizard. It's great. But thank you, Cassie, for the kind words. Appreciate it. But yeah, if you or anybody else has questions, you want to reach out to our office, please do. Okay. We are just about out of time, and I think we're out of questions. I've gone through my outline today. I think I covered most of the important stuff. Sorry if I missed anything, Teresa and Nicole. And speaking of which, if you speak Spanish, you want to hear this information in Spanish, or you know somebody who speaks Spanish that should check us out, check Myra out at 1 o'clock. Normally, Nicole goes live at 1 o'clock in Spanish, but today our colleague Myra will be joining. So go ahead and support her stream if you can. Check her out at 1 o'clock. Yeah, it'll be great information. Even better than this live, for sure. But with that said, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and sign off today. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you all for being here and spending 45, 50 minutes with me. Like a lot of you do this every single Friday, and it's an absolute honor to get to talk with you guys and hear about what's going on. So thank you for that. Please, again, like the stream, love it, share it if you can, to try and get more of this information out to people who need it. Yeah, if you have any topics or ideas you want us to talk about, please message us as well. We're always trying to look up new ideas and things that could be helpful for you guys and what you're specifically needing support in. But with that said, I hope you all have a wonderful Friday. I hope you all enjoy your long holiday weekend, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.